Well, here you go, folks. This is the Indonesian made petrol bicycle, and this is the petrol C93. Actually, it's the C09 series, because the 91, 2 and 3, those are typically based on the color schemes. This one here that I've got is brown in color, and that's why it is called the 93. So it came as a full bike, and I've done this up with my own bits and bobs all over the place, and I am going to tell you what I've done this bike with. So let's start from the rear this time round, shall we? And at the back, these are actually race face rims laced with the Roval's hubs, which used to be from my stump jumper some time back actually. And I've done the decals to be a bit more colorful for this one, and then mated with GX rear derailleur and a 52 teeth cassette. This is from China, 11 to 52 if I'm not wrong, and the chain is also from China. This one here, it's also the colored one, but I think it's a bit too dirty, that's why you can't really see. Oh, there you go, it's a C92, I'm sorry. Okay, moving along, I've actually mated this with a Cannondale Si. This came from my previous Cannondale Jackal. The pedals are, if I'm not wrong, some house brand pedals, the regular pedals just with studs. One thing about this Cannondale Si cranks, they are aluminum hollow and they are very light. They are sub 500 grams a pair, inclusive of the spindle as well as the 30 teeth chainring. The problem with this one, however, is slightly odd in length, so there needs to be a spacer somewhere, and I'll show it to you later on. This is mated with my race face BB, and moving along to the other side, actually here, this is what I mean. So this is an existing BB that I've got from race face, from my previous one, and this is the spacer that I'm talking about. So you require this spacer for this Cannondale crank because it's slightly offset due to the previous older models of the Cannondale Jackal, which has that AI kind of spacing for the boost dimensions. Okay, so moving up, I've color coordinated this with a new proof seat collar, and this dropper post is the Duncan from my previous Scott Spark. Moving up would be my Horizon saddle, and this is also with a color coded bronze kind of a rail, but as you can see, the paint is coming off. I don't really like this saddle, it's pretty odd, I don't know why. It's a bit jutted out on the rear. I think maybe angle has something to do with it. I will be still tweaking the saddle very soon. And moving downwards, these are 180 rotors, and these are again from China. I don't know, to me at the end of the day, rotors are rotors, so they do what they need to do in any case. And these are 180 adapters mated with my Magura MT5s, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I love these brakes. I think the brakes are sufficient for this bicycle frame. It doesn't need to be 4-pot. I think this strong 2-pot would be good enough. However, I did change the internal brake pads to be the race brake pads, so they are fully metal, full sintered. Okay, and if you do take a closer look at the way it's housed, if you ask me, it's a bit short, a bit risky. So the cabling comes off very close to the rim, the spoke itself. Nothing bad, but it's just, I don't know, if you ask me, it's a bit too close for comfort. And the clearance on this bicycle frame is not very good. This is on 2.4s. These are the Versus all mountain tires, 2.4s by 29. They're quite wide, these tires, and they remind me of the DHR2s. However, as I mentioned, the clearance, they need to do something about this clearance. Slightly scary. Alright, This bicycle also comes with a some sort of like a SWAT box, a container where we can put the extra rear derailleur just in case. It's quite a smart thing to do. It's just that maybe they could have made this box slightly bigger and somehow, you know, configured it to contain a small section of it to house the extra rear derailleur. If not, it's a bit of a waste because the technology for them is there, but they're not using it, you know, to the fullest. Supercast bottle cage, one of my favorite brands, very light, very color, you know, they're very color centric, this brand. Moving upwards is actually my cockpit, and the cockpit here that I've got is actually a Syncross OEM handlebar. This is full carbon, and the good thing about this what do you call this handlebar is that it's short, so the stem itself is built in, and from the center of the bar to the center of the stem is only about 15 to 20 mm, so I think it's pretty darn short. Yeah, it's almost direct, the feel. But if you're looking at the so-called the rise of the handlebar itself, is not fantastic. It's actually quite shallow. You can see over there, you see it's not, you know, it's not really very, you know, nicely risen. So maybe this is very cross-country rather than trail, if you ask me. Mated this with SDG Trice grips. I love these grips, the color is nice. It's also very light. The only thing is that it's quite narrow. This one here is only 135, and this is 31 mm thickness. I can't remember whether they have the 33 mm one, but my hands are not exactly very big, so to me they give me a very nice grip. So this dropper lever came with the bike, and I think the bike was equipped with what do you call that, EXA, or is it L, I can't remember what's the brand that it came with, but it just came with the this dropper lever, which I'm using. Not fantastic, it's a bit squishy for some reason. So my mechanic has done, you know, has tried to do magic with it, so it is not as bad as it originally was, but very similar to the Brand X one. But the Brand X one has a nicer feel and it's not so spongy. This is quite spongy. Okay, so I just put in a little bit of yellow bling here on the cap for the Magura. I don't know if you can see it. There you go, Maguras. And the headset is actually something which would be quite new. When I say new, meaning it's something which some of the new high-end bikes are doing. So this is a cable inside the headset, so that's why the body, if you notice, is quite clean. There are no holes all over the place except for this one space. The problem with that is that the mechanic was telling me that it's a bit of a pain to install. You know, the way it runs through is not fantastic, but maybe he's not used to it. Other than that, he said it does work fine. So my quip would be that it potentially will be inviting water to come in, quite a bit of water to come in. That's my worry. All right, moving along is still the same cockpit, GX shifter, MT5. I beg your pardon, MT4, sorry. Okay, MT4's Maguras. All right, these are for my previous bikes as well. Moving down, these are the X Fusion RC32, and these are quite okay. They are reasonably light at 1.8. Not the best forks in the industry, but it does what it needs to do, and I'm not really a big fan of spending tons of money on my bicycles because unfortunately I have a lot of them. This one's also mated with 180 front, as well as my previous hubset from the Specialized, also a Roval made by DT Swiss. But these hubs, a pair, they're close to about 600 grams. So I have already just ordered myself a lighter hubset, hopefully to reduce it that little bit, because no matter what people are saying, rotational weight is, you know, can be quite daunting. All right. Last but not least, there is this one part here which I hope you can see. Not too sure whether today this place is a very good space for me to take images of. So yeah, this part over here, it's actually a very weird placement to include a cable tie section where you cable tie the internal routing. Not as clean as all the other brands out there, but I guess it's got to do, you know, it's got to do, it does what it needs to do, hold on to the cable so it doesn't make that much noise. The bike after a first ride is actually not too bad, doesn't make too much noise. However, having said that, I think there can be some improvements. The geometry is very much like a Mondraker. It's actually very forward geometry, this thing. So you need to tweak quite a number of things, be it the stem, be it the saddle, to make it more comfortable. And in my case, I wasn't really that comfortable riding this bike on the first time round. I have yet to do a proper bike review, ride review on this one, so watch this space and I'll get back to you really soon. But in the meantime, guys, this is how the Petrol C92 looks like, custom built. The only one that is stock would be the suspension fork. Everything else is all mainly from my previous bikes, built up all together. And I hope you have a better understanding of this brand, which is now available in the US and in Singapore as well. Singapore through Bicycles, and I got this from Indonesia because I'm Indonesian, so I was lucky to get it at a lower cost from Indonesia. I hope you enjoy this one. Let me know what you think of the bike. What are the components that you think may be, you know, better for this bike, be it for weight or if not the ride feel. I'll get back to you pretty soon, hopefully for a ride review. But in the meantime, don't forget, guys, no bike is a shit bike as long as it makes you smile. And this is Eric F&P. Peace out from Singapore.